Hey everyone, welcome back to Afterlife Experiences. Before we jump in, drop your country in the comments below. It's amazing to see how these real-life experiences are connecting people from all around the world. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any powerful testimonies like these. Let's get started.
Hey guys, my name is Jessica, and honestly, I don't even know how to start this because, well, I never thought anything like this would happen to me. I'm just a normal person, living a pretty regular life, work, scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, hanging out with friends. Spiritual stuff? Honestly, I was always skeptical. I thought those experiences were only for saints or really religious people. But here I am, sharing this, because what I went through changed me in ways I'm still trying to understand. So, about a week ago, something happened that threw my whole world upside down. I was in the hospital. Long story, nothing too dramatic but scary enough, and I had this near-death experience. During those moments when I felt like I was slipping away, I saw Jesus, and not like some vague light or figure. He was so real, so present. It was like he was right there in the room with me. What he showed me, man, it was beyond anything I imagined. It wasn't just a vision of heaven or peace or the usual comforting stuff you hear about. No, Jesus showed me the world we live in now, but through a lens I never expected. He showed me CNN, TikTok, and OnlyFans. Yeah, those exact platforms we see or use every day. And then he said something that still haunts me. Jessica, these are my enemy's tools. I remember the tone, so serious, so filled with sadness and warning. It felt like a direct message to me, and honestly, to all of us living in this digital age. I couldn't believe it at first. How could Jesus say something like that? These platforms are everywhere. CNN is news, TikTok is fun, and OnlyFans is, well, it's what it is, right? But as he showed me, it wasn't about judging people or blaming technology. It was about a spiritual battle I had no clue was happening around me, right through my phone and TV. What struck me most was how connected these tools were in this invisible war on our souls. Jesus wasn't just warning about one thing, he was pointing out how these platforms, so normal in our lives, are used to distract, divide, and destroy from within. It was like seeing a hidden war zone layered right on top of our everyday screens. I'm still piecing it all together. Even now, thinking about it makes me feel shaken. Like, I keep asking myself, how did I miss this? How many of us are living day to day, scrolling mindlessly, not realizing that these very platforms might be pulling us further from truth and peace? So yeah, today I want to share everything I saw, heard, and felt during that experience. I want to take you through how Jesus showed me CNN, then TikTok, then OnlyFans, and what each means in this spiritual fight we're all in, whether we realize it or not. Honestly, it's going to sound crazy, and I get that. But if you stick with me, maybe you'll see the world a little differently after, because this isn't just my story. It's a message for anyone who feels lost or overwhelmed by what's happening around us. All right, let's dive into it. The first thing Jesus showed me was CNN and what that means for us today. All right, so let me tell you about CNN because that was the first thing Jesus showed me after he introduced those enemy's tools. I always thought of CNN just as a news channel, right? Something you watch to stay informed, understand what's going on in the world. But what I saw during my experience was completely different. Jesus showed me this giant, flickering screen, like a TV set. But it wasn't just broadcasting news. It was more like a chaotic storm of images, flashing headlines, loud voices shouting at each other. And the thing was, it wasn't about truth anymore. It was about fear. Division, anger. Every headline was like a trigger designed to get people worked up, scared, and fighting amongst themselves. He said something really powerful. The enemy uses media to break hearts and minds, to pit brother against brother, to keep humanity divided and distracted. And that stuck with me because, honestly, it made so much sense. I thought about all those times I'd watched the news and ended up feeling hopeless, angry, or just exhausted from all the negativity. Like no matter what I did, the stories kept feeding me fear and frustration. Jesus told me that CNN, and really a lot of mainstream media, is used as a weapon, a tool to control how we think and feel. It's not just about reporting facts anymore. It's about creating a narrative that keeps people trapped in fear and hate. He said, when hearts are full of anger and fear, there's no room for love or peace. That's the enemy's plan. And you know what? I started thinking about how often I'd find myself scrolling through bad news, feeling powerless, then clicking over to social media, hoping for distraction, but only finding more chaos. It's like a never-ending cycle designed to wear you down. But Jesus also showed me something else. He showed me that there is a way out of that cycle. He told me, you don't have to be a prisoner to the news or the noise. Guard your heart, seek truth, but don't let fear control you. That hit me deep because I realized how much I'd been letting this constant stream of fear shape my emotions, my outlook on life, and even how I treated people around me. It was exhausting, and worst of all, it was stealing my peace. So yeah, that was the first part of the vision, the powerful warning about CNN and how media can become a tool of darkness when it's used to divide and conquer. I'm still learning how to protect myself from that influence every day, but knowing what I now know, it's like a whole new battlefront has opened up in my mind and soul. Next, I want to talk about TikTok, because that was the second platform Jesus showed me, and honestly, it was just as eye-opening, but in a very different way. So, moving on to TikTok. Honestly, this one really hit close to home because, let's be real, I was on TikTok way more than I should have been before this whole experience. I mean, who isn't? It's addictive, it's fun, it's where everyone's hanging out these days. But what Jesus showed me was a side of TikTok that I never wanted to admit was real. He showed me endless streams of videos, people dancing, lip-syncing, doing challenges, all that viral stuff. But beneath all that, there was this heavy feeling, like a vacuum, sucking away time, energy, and even joy from people. It was like everyone was chasing something invisible, likes, followers, approval from strangers. The more they scrolled, the emptier they seemed inside. Jesus said, this platform steals the soul's time and fills hearts with a hollow longing. It distracts from real connection and traps people in shallow praise. And it was so clear to me, TikTok is designed to be a distraction, a way to keep people endlessly entertained but never fulfilled. I saw people laughing and smiling, but also lonely, isolated, desperate for validation. It was like an addiction. The more they consumed, the more they needed, but they never really got what they were looking for. And that broke my heart because I had been one of them, mindlessly scrolling for hours, feeling empty afterward. He told me, the enemy uses fun to mask chains. The more you seek your worth in fleeting applause, the further you drift from truth. It wasn't just about wasting time. It was about losing sight of what really matters. Real relationships, faith, and inner peace. What shocked me most was how many young people were caught in this web, trying to find identity in viral fame, but ending up lost and confused. I saw a lot of pain hidden behind those videos, and I felt like I was being warned not just for myself, but for everyone scrolling late into the night. Jesus also reminded me that while technology isn't evil itself, the way it's used can either build us up or tear us down. He said, you have the power to choose what you feed your soul. That gave me hope because it means change is possible, even if the world feels overwhelming. So yeah, TikTok was this powerful lesson about distraction, validation, and how easily we get trapped in the noise. Even when it seems harmless or fun, it made me want to be more mindful about how I spend my time and what I let influence me. Up next, Jesus showed me OnlyFans, and honestly, that part shook me to my core in a completely different way. All right, so now comes the part that really shook me to the core. OnlyFans. Before this whole experience, I knew of OnlyFans, of course. I knew it was a platform where people shared adult content, and I had my opinions, like many do. But Jesus showed me something deeper, something raw and painful that I never considered before. He showed me people, mostly women, but not only, who were using this platform. And it wasn't just about the content they were sharing, it was about their hearts and souls being caught in this invisible trap. He said, "This platform exploits bodies and spirits, turning what is sacred into a commodity." I saw the loneliness behind the screens. People who thought they were empowered because they had control over their content, their money, their fans. But in reality, many were broken inside, desperate for love, acceptance, and validation. It was like the enemy had dressed up chains as freedom. What hurt the most was seeing how society normalized this kind of selling of oneself, calling it liberation or empowerment, but ignoring the cost it took on people's dignity and spirit. Jesus said, "True freedom is not found in selling your soul for applause. It is found in love, respect, and purity of heart." He showed me stories, some of people trapped in cycles of addiction to the platform, struggling to escape but feeling ashamed and hopeless, and others who were unaware of the spiritual wounds growing deeper inside. It was a reminder that behind every screen name, there's a real person with real pain and real worth. This part of the vision broke me because I realized how easily society can twist what is sacred, our bodies, our love, our intimacy, into something transactional. And the enemy feeds on that brokenness, growing stronger when we lose sight of the value God places on each person. Jesus warned me, beware the lies of pleasure disguised as freedom. It is a false promise that leaves the soul empty and enslaved. But he also showed me hope, that those caught in this trap are not beyond redemption. There is healing, forgiveness, and a way back to true dignity and peace. I felt so compelled to share this because so many people don't see the spiritual battle happening behind these platforms. It's not about condemning individuals. It's about recognizing how easily we can be drawn into traps that hurt us spiritually without even knowing it. Since then, I've been thinking about how important it is to protect our hearts and to help those hurting find true freedom in God's love, not in fleeting pleasure or validation. Honestly, sharing this part feels heavy, but I know it's necessary. The enemy uses these platforms to divide, distract, and destroy, but Jesus offers healing, restoration, and true freedom. Next, he started showing me how these tools all fit into a bigger picture, a spiritual war that's happening beneath the surface of our everyday lives. That's what I'll talk about next. All right, now this is where things got even deeper and more intense. After showing me CNN, TikTok, and OnlyFans individually, Jesus started to connect the dots and reveal the bigger spiritual battlefield behind these platforms. It was like peeling back a curtain to see an entire war happening right under our noses, one most of us have no idea about. He said, "These tools are not just random or innocent. They are weapons crafted by the enemy to divide, distract, and destroy the souls of humanity." And I could feel the weight of those words, like the gravity of this hidden war pressing down on me. It wasn't just about media or entertainment anymore. It was a full-on spiritual assault using the very things we consume daily. Jesus showed me how these platforms work together to pull people away from truth and light. CNN floods the mind with fear, anger, and division, creating chaos and confusion. TikTok steals the time and attention, trapping hearts in shallow pleasure and endless distraction. OnlyFans exploits the body and soul, turning sacred intimacy into a marketplace of brokenness, all three working in tandem, creating a cycle that's hard to break. I saw how this cycle keeps people enslaved, caught in fear, loneliness, and temptation, never realizing they're part of a bigger plan to separate them from God's love. Jesus said, "The enemy's goal is to blind the world, to fill hearts with hate, doubt, and despair, so they will turn away from the light." What struck me most was how subtle this war is. It's not a battle with swords or armies you can see. It's a battle fought in the mind, the heart, and even through our daily choices of what we watch, share, and believe. The platforms are like Trojan horses offering connection, entertainment, or freedom, but secretly delivering chains. I also saw how easy it is to get pulled into this war unknowingly. How many times do we get angry at the news, waste hours on social media, or get caught in temptation and just shrug it off as normal life? Jesus told me normal is not always safe. Guard your heart and mind carefully. But amidst all this darkness, Jesus showed me a way to fight back. He said, start with your own heart. Choose what you feed your soul. Seek truth, seek love, and refuse to be divided. It was like a call to arms, not with weapons, but with discernment, prayer, and intentional living. He reminded me that we all have a choice every day, to buy into the enemy's narrative or to seek the light. And even though the battle is fierce, his love is stronger than any tool the enemy uses. That gave me hope because it meant I wasn't powerless. Since that moment, I've been trying to be more mindful, limiting what I consume, questioning what I hear, and trying to stay grounded in faith and truth. It's not easy. The pull is strong and the enemy is clever, but knowing there's a bigger battle gives me strength to keep fighting. I want to share this with everyone because I believe this hidden war is happening to all of us, even if we don't see it. And the first step is awareness, understanding the tools being used against us. Next, Jesus showed me what true freedom looks like, beyond the traps of these platforms. That's what I'll share in the next part. All right, this part really gave me a glimpse of hope in the middle of all of the darkness. After Jesus showed me how CNN, TikTok, and OnlyFans are used as tools to trap souls, he revealed what true freedom actually looks like. And honestly, it blew me away. It wasn't about rejecting technology or running away from the world, but about something much deeper and more powerful. He said, true freedom is found not in fleeing the world, but in knowing the truth and living in love. And as he spoke this, I saw images of people unplugging from the noise, not just physically, but spiritually. People coming together in real relationships, laughing, praying, helping each other without any digital screens between them. Jesus showed me that freedom isn't about having the latest phone or thousands of followers. It's about peace in your heart, the courage to choose what's right, and the ability to love even when the world tries to break you down. He said, your soul craves connection that cannot be replaced by likes or clicks. I saw families spending time together, friends having deep conversations face to face, communities gathering to support each other. I realized how much I had been missing out on, trapped in endless scrolling and digital noise. He showed me the power of prayer, of silence, of focusing on what truly matters. He also reminded me that technology itself isn't evil, it's how we use it that counts. Tools can build or break, he said. Use them wisely, but never let them rule your heart. That really made me think. It's not about throwing away our phones or hating social media, but about setting boundaries and choosing what nourishes our souls. Jesus encouraged me to find balance, to engage with the world but not be consumed by it. He said, be the light in the darkness. Share love where others spread hate. Choose hope when fear is loud. That message was so powerful because it gave me a way forward. Instead of feeling trapped or helpless, I felt empowered to make changes in my life, to limit the noise, to seek truth, and to nurture real relationships, to pray more, to be kind, and to resist the enemy's lies. Since then, I've been trying to live that out every day. It's not easy. Old habits die hard, and the world keeps pulling me back. But knowing that true freedom is possible keeps me going. I want to tell everyone listening that no matter how lost or trapped you feel, freedom is real and within reach. It starts with choosing love and truth over fear and distraction. Next, Jesus talked about temptation and how we all face choices every day between light and darkness. I'll share that in the next part. All right, now this part was honestly one of the hardest for me to hear, but also the most important. After showing me what true freedom looks like, Jesus didn't just leave it there. He warned me about temptation and the daily battles we all face, especially in this digital age with these platforms constantly pulling at us. He said, these tools can be used for good, but the enemy twists them to enslave. Every click, every scroll, every choice can lead you closer to the light or deeper into darkness. and I could feel the seriousness in his voice because it's so easy to forget how much power those small decisions hold. Jesus showed me people at crossroads every day, deciding whether to engage in hate-filled arguments, whether to chase after likes and validation, whether to fall into lust and brokenness through platforms like OnlyFans. He said, "Temptation is subtle. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers sweet lies that feel harmless but steal your soul." I remember thinking about my own life and how many times I'd fallen into those traps, how easy it was to get sucked into negativity on social media or to seek approval from strangers instead of from God. How often I'd wasted hours on content that made me feel worse afterward. He reminded me that it's a spiritual battle fought in the everyday moments, the choices we barely notice. What hit me hardest was when he said, "You are more than what you see on a screen. You are a child of God, made for love, truth, and purpose." That felt like a direct message to me, reminding me of my worth beyond all the noise and distraction. Jesus also encouraged me that while temptation is real and fierce, we're not powerless. With prayer, discernment, and faith, you can resist the enemy's snares. Every time you choose love over hate, truth over lies, you weaken the enemy's hold. He showed me practical ways to fight back, like setting boundaries on social media use, choosing uplifting content, avoiding toxic conversations, and filling my mind with scripture and prayer. It wasn't about perfection, but progress, about daily commitment to guard my heart. I also realized how important community is. Jesus said, "Surround yourself with those who encourage your faith and growth. You were not meant to fight alone." That made me think about the friends and family I lean on now and how crucial they are in helping me stay strong. So, this part of the vision was a wake-up call about how real temptation is in our daily lives, especially with these digital tools at our fingertips. But it's also a message of hope that through God's strength, we can overcome and walk in freedom. Honestly, it's been a struggle every day since, but knowing I'm not alone and that Jesus walks with me gives me the courage to keep fighting. Next up, Jesus showed me something beautiful about healing and restoration, how no matter how far someone's fallen, redemption is always possible. I can't wait to share that with you in the final part. All right, here's the part that really touched my heart and gave me hope. Because after all the warnings and battles Jesus showed me, he ended with this incredible message about healing, restoration, and redemption. It was like a warm light breaking through the darkness, reminding me that no matter how far someone has fallen or how deeply they're caught in the enemy's traps, God's love is greater and his mercy is endless. Jesus said, "No one is beyond my reach." Every soul can be healed and restored. The enemy may have deceived them, but my grace is stronger. And as he said this, I saw beautiful images of broken people being lifted up, chains breaking, wounds healing, not just physically, but deep in their spirits. He showed me people who had been trapped by addiction, loneliness, shame, and sin, all finding their way back through faith, forgiveness, and love. It wasn't an easy path for them. Many had to fight hard battles, face painful truths, and let go of lies they believed for so long, but the joy on their faces when they found freedom was unlike anything I've ever seen. Jesus told me, "Healing begins the moment you turn to me with a repentant heart. I do not condemn, I restore, I do not reject, I embrace." That gave me chills because it meant that no matter what mistakes we've made or how lost we feel, there's always a way back to light. He also emphasized the power of community and healing, how coming together in love, prayer, and support is crucial. "You were made for connection," he said, "to walk together, to lift each other, to be witnesses of my mercy." What struck me deeply was how this message wasn't just for a few, it was for everyone listening. Whether you've been caught up in media's lies, addiction, broken relationships, or just feeling overwhelmed by the noise of the world, Jesus wants you to know you're not alone. He's ready to heal, to restore your dignity, and to fill your heart with peace. Since coming back from this experience, I've seen it play out in my own life and the lives of those around me. People breaking free, finding faith, rebuilding their lives. It's not magic, it's a daily process of choosing God's love over the enemy's deception. I hope by sharing this, it encourages anyone who's struggling to take that first step toward healing, Because no matter how dark the battle feels, the light of Jesus is always waiting to shine through. So that's the full journey Jesus showed me. CNN, TikTok, and OnlyFans as tools of the enemy, the hidden spiritual war behind them, the daily temptations we face, and the glorious hope of healing and restoration through God's mercy. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'm still processing everything, still fighting every day, but sharing this with you helps me stay strong, and I hope it helps you too. If any of this resonated with you, please remember you're not alone, and there's always hope and love waiting for you.